This is Perspectivas Latinas, a community service of CAN TV. I'm Juan Carlos Hernandez. Middle school students encounter many changes and challenges. Maisie Soto and Phil Pompa of the Technocratic Learning and Collaboration Center of Chicago are here to tell us how they help these students with technology and learning during that age. Welcome to both of you.
Thank
Thank you for having us.
Well, great. Let's start off by talking about you individually and what it is that brought you to this, actually creating this organization. Maisie, let's start with you, please.
So from early on through my college years and my internships, I've always wanted to be involved in education and technology. So after pursuing human-computer interaction at DePaul, a few years later, I went back to school and got my master's in instructional technology. And so I always wanted to do something in the community or at a company where I could do technology with education. And so that is one of the reasons why I wanted to start this nonprofit.
Okay, we'll certainly get into the whole story of how it happened and what finally made you say, I need to do this. And your co-founder is here, Phil, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, tell us about your background and what's brought you to helping create this.
Well, I have a business degree in information systems, and then I worked for a long time. I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
You didn't want to grow up yet? Or?
No, it's not that I didn't want to grow up, I just didn't have a clear idea of what I wanted to do when I grew up, which is part of the reason why I helped found this with Maisie. But I worked in technology for a long time in the finance industry. Then I went back and got my law degree, and I ended up back into technology. And so we went to a couple conferences and we saw a need for students to have some kind of clear direction, and we were both interested in technology. So I think kind of us wanting to teach children about technology and get them involved in technology, and me not necessarily having a clear path early on kind of inspired me to help those students not only get access to technology and interest in technology, but having people there that they could talk with and bounce ideas against to maybe find out what that path might be for them early on, so that they had a clear direction and weren't just kind of going without a path.
Okay, and talking about that path, you came up with this idea at a conference. How long ago did that happen, and what made you finally sit down and start, I don't know, writing on napkins or typing up a plan? Maisie, or?
It was at a Latism conference back in 2011.
Latinos and Social Media.
Correct. Yeah, so there's a speaker in particular from Chile, a founder of Fundación Origen. She built a school for troubled teens.
In Chile.
In Chile. And the idea was to not only give them the essentials, the education of math, science, social studies, etc. It's also to include yoga, include farming, and sustain itself. Like the school sustains itself out of, making cheese from the sheep, or I don't recall if they had cows.
Goats.
Yeah, the goats that they had there.
They sell their surplus food to fund the organization, as well as other things that they create.
Wow, this is where in Chile? On the countryside, in Santiago?
I think it's in the countryside.
I think it is in the countryside.
Wow. So what do cows and cheese and the center in Chile have to do with your ideas and technology?
Well, was her inspiration to do something kind of holistically.
Okay.
In addition to that, we sat at a round table where there was a gentleman, maybe from Comcast, or I'm not sure where he was from, but he had some technical experience and he had a law degree, and his concern was bridging the digital divide. And how we can do this, how we can kind of narrow this gap between maybe Latinos or other minorities that don't have the skill or the know-how with technology to kind of get them up to speed. So it was in concert with these two things, and us not necessarily knowing what we wanted to do next in our careers, they were kind of like, we can do this. We're interested in teaching technology to students.
Right.
We're interested in helping people. Why not do this? Why not take a holistic view and incorporate technology access, which there's libraries, there's places where students can get access.
Well, there's smartphones. A lot of people will say that they have smartphones, tablets.
Right, but it's difficult to maybe do homework assignments on those things. And we'd heard of people that really wanted to do their homework and were sitting in the parking lots of libraries after school so that they could hijack the Wi-Fi to do their work. So it wasn't necessarily just getting them access.
I've been there. That's why I laugh.
Right. So it's not just getting them access, but teaching them how to use the machines for things other than gaming, for things other than social media, and work with them to find out what their talents are and kind of foster those things and match them up with people that they can talk to. So they have the technology, they're learning the skills, and they have people that they can talk to get them on that path early on.
Well, is that one of the reasons why you chose to work with middle school students? Because that is a strange age. I just remember being in middle school myself, and I'm like, you're all sorts of different heights. You're going through all these bodily changes, and mentally as well. You're like, sometimes you think your parents don't love you anymore if you have issues with them. Why that age? Because certainly children in elementary school have their own challenges and their own views of things. But tell me about that. What led to that choice?
Middle school students are at the age where it's critical that their math and literacy skills have to be up to their level. Otherwise, you lose them in high school and they start dropping out. If their math and reading skills are not to the level that they're supposed to, they will lose interest when they go to high school because all the books are written at academic language. So if you're not understanding what you're reading in 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, then how are you supposed to get through high school? And so that is why we decided to target this population.
That was actually Maisie's idea to middle school students. And then when she explained it to me, it made a lot of sense. And the opposite side of that coin is we're working with computers where people have to type, they have to follow instructions, and they can teach each other, but I think that required a level of sophistication that maybe, and not to say that 1st through 6th graders don't have that, because we've worked with some younger students and some older students, but we wanted to catch them before high school, but we wanted them to be able to follow the instruction and have the skills necessary in order to start with a foundation of these technical skills and then advance from there.
Right. They're also, like you mentioned, alluded to it, they're independent enough to work and support each other.
Correct.
And I bring this back again, you mentioned holistic. I want to talk about that, and then we'll get into how you integrate. And yeah, you can certainly tell me as we're talking how the computer becomes part of this holistic learning process.
So the holistic part is bringing different disciplines into it, such as arts. Obviously, the reading and math is incorporated into every lesson, but we also have lessons in wellness, sustainability, and outside of that, we want the kids to tell us what other interests they have, and then based on that, we build on lessons. And so that's where the holistic approach comes. It's not just here's access to technology and do as you please.
Right. So give me an example of a lesson. Do you do like yoga before, or you integrate yoga into something like this, or something else? You talked about, you mentioned wellness. How does that actually become of the day-to-day instruction or work with these students?
As of yet, it hasn't. We've got grand ideas about how we're going to do that once we have a space that will allow for it. But I think, and we felt kind of leery about using the term holistic because we think it gets overused a lot these days. But really, we are trying to kind of incorporate one of the programs where Maisie has a food label, you read the ingredients, and then you find alternative ingredients that are much better for you, so you can recreate your favorite snack, because feeding the body also feeds the mind. Finding research on any topic can incorporate that holistic view, where you're not just, we didn't want kids to just get access to computers. And then what? We wanted to teach them about computers, teach them how to use it as a tool in itself to find out about how to fix their bike, or how to create something artistically that they're interested in, how to improve their diet and exercise, and find out about these things. So really it is, until we have a space where we could have friends of ours that are yoga instructors and start a class that way, and have chef friends of ours come and show them how to make their better snacks. We're using what we have now to kind of incorporate a broader view of what technology can do for them.
And you're building, you're actually laying the foundation for those those ideas. Those ideas are already there, but starting off with that certainly will get you there. I think it's actually pretty innovative and exciting. And you said that the word holistic gets overused and perhaps misused. I tend to, my own observation is that people tend to think it's this hippie thing.
Correct.
Right, but it certainly isn't. When you're mentioning snacks and or food labels and reading food labels, that's something we do every day. How did the students respond to that activity, Maisie?
We have yet to create that activity with the children. Right now we're doing our blogging lesson at this time.
Well, tell me about the blogging.
So, as he said, they come up with their own idea, and then little by little.
For example, like
one of our students decided. I mean, he loves football. He watches, what did he say, like 8-9 hours on a Sunday evening.
He has NFL Red Zone, and he has access to.
That's a lot of TV.
A good deal.
Yeah, in one day.
In one day, wow.
Yeah.
And he's on the tablet, and he's on the phone in between his house and Grandma's house. But you know, that's something. It might be a lot of TV, but
right.
for him,
it's an interest of his.
Right.
And so he basically came up with, I want to feature scores and the players who got in the red zone, and give his own critique. He give his own point of view of how the games went, and he actually is very excited. He never wants to leave. He said he even tells his mom, you picked me up 5 minutes earlier. Why?
Wow. So and there's a future for him, a sports analyst there.
Who knows? But I mean, he's showing. But this was our intent when we did this. This is a prime example. We're actually very lucky to have this as part of our pilot, because it highlights his creative nature. It helps him articulate what he wants to say, but it gives him the technology to do that. And so in itself, it's kind of a holistic thing, because he's improving creative thought, he's improving his writing skills, he's learning how to use the technology, and he's really excited about it. So that makes us in turn excited about it. And the quicker he learns, as part of we're the Technocratic Learning and Collaboration Center, he helps his classmates kind of, hey, this is how you build a page in your blog. So this can be your critique section. Or he helps them kind of develop ideas on what sections they want to have in their blog.
So in some sense, he's also becoming a leader within that group.
That's what we hope for.
Okay, awesome. And Maisie, you kind of break the stereotype I think we have of people in technology. You're a woman, Latina, and I don't think a lot of people envision that when they think technology or somebody working in technology.
Sure.
What have you seen in laying this foundation for your organization? How have girls responded to your example and to what you're doing and how you've become involved?
So far, our group is only boys.
Only boys?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think as we are more exposed, we'll get more girls. I do work for a school district, so I think the girls that see me there, I think they see it as cool. Like I could be, so and so.
I think it is cool.
Yeah,
it's cool
it's an example. I mean, the people that I work with, the tech department, they're also men, and so, I mean, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable doing what I do, and that's my focus. I'm not focusing on, oh my God, I'm the only girl here.
Right.
And so I think that's one thing that girls and women should look at. Is not just like, well, that isn't a field that I want to go into because it's all men. How could I do it? It's more of, if I have the ability to do it, why not do it? And I think there's more exposure as well for women. Like there's a Latinas in STEM, which is an organization as well.
And tell us what STEM stands for again.
Science, technology, engineering, and math.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I mean, I'm hoping that girls see me as an example for what they would want to do.
So that's certainly a concern, or that not a concern in a bad way, but it's something that you certainly want to develop and cultivate going forward. Now, you mentioned also during this conversation already that you don't have your own space yet, and that's also something that's out there, and I'm sure from just hearing your passion that it'll be something you get pretty soon, I hope. Where are you working out of primarily right now?
We are at Segundo Ruiz Belvis Cultural Center. They have a media center, and that's where we're running our after-school programs on Mondays. And it's a beautiful space. It's
right. It's a new space, right?
It is new.
It is new.
Luis Bermudez has been kind enough to find some machines and some computers, and was very excited to have us make sure that they're all in working order and put them to use. And it's a nice computer lab that they have in the back of the building, and it's worked out quite well for us.
What are it's an after-school program, so you collaborate with CPS, or is this just a separate?
This is separate.
Okay.
It's just us.
It's just you. And what do any other organizations lend their support or their expertise, or it's just you two basically being the engine and the car too?
We've had mentors along the way. We've had Linda Garza,
Israel
Vargas, a mentor from New York who I met at Latism, Magali Rivera. She's a small business consultant as well as a nonprofit consultant. So through them, we've made connections, and through Israel Vargas is how we met Luis Bermudez at SRBCC. And I think that's how we just keep connecting with people. And if they want our program, we'll go and run our program. If more nonprofits want to partner up with us,
we're happy to do that.
Yeah.
Hands on Tech Chicago is a local nonprofit that helps nonprofits make a more robust effort in their technology. So if you had a space and you wanted to network it, they can help you. If you were trying to develop programs that use technology, they have consultants that will help as well, and they've been helpful.
Okay. It sounds awesome, and it sounds like you certainly have the foundation going forward. Tell me, you told me about the boy who is a lover of football, and it seems like he's really taking what you're helping teach there and using it to grow. Can you give me another example of maybe how a family has responded? You told me his mom picks him up early sometimes, but have any parents or anybody spoken to you, shared some words about maybe a difference they've seen in their child, and any growth, or as a child told you, I'm really excited. Besides this boy, could you give me another example, please?
The children are almost always excited when they're able to learn how to do something. It's an independent activity that they work on with us, with our guidance. But rather than, we don't see it from the parents, but we see it from the children themselves. What does this word mean, guys? And we say, I don't know, you tell me. And once we've given them the resources, they go to Merriam-Webster online and find out what that word means. Or they look for a definition at Wikipedia. But instead of always depending on us to give them the answers, we've given them the tools. And when you see them use those tools to find out what the word means, or find out how to create the new page, or find out how to log in, and when they learn how to do that, you see their pride in their independence. And that alone starts to, you get less and less questions, and only questions on super difficult things that they need help with. And that's what we've seen. We've seen positive reinforcement in that way.
Okay. And how is the community going beyond the classroom? Have you heard from community members about more interest in helping you grow this organization? Or has anybody reached out to you, or have you reached out? You've mentioned some folks that you've already reached out to.
And we've reached out. We've started recently reaching out to some aldermen, Moreno and Ray Colon, and their offices have been very interested in helping us spread the word. Until we have a place, we're very interested in people that are wanting us to come and work with them, whether it be a school or a community center. And so in that respect, the more that we get out and the more that we do, the more people want to help. So it's growing slowly, but it's happening.
Right, right. That certainly seems like a place where you're obviously going to be researching and thinking and planning for the future. Where do you hope to finally, anywhere to actually have a space anywhere in the city or on the north side? Where are you planning to do that or hoping to do that?
Our thought process began with we kind of want either Albany Park or Logan Square. Like those are the two areas that that we were interested in. I mean, now that we're in Hermosa, I think it could be we could even get our own space in Hermosa, which is a possibility. Working with SRBCC, we would love to be in the schools ultimately, because obviously we're dealing with children 5th through 8th, and transportation could be an issue. Right,
right, that's true. So it would be like you having your space, but then reaching out, but also, or going out actually to do work in schools and having students come in. I'm still curious about, and kind of getting back to your own start as an organization, what have been some of the challenges you have faced as a new nonprofit? It's a big world out there, and a lot of people. It's almost like starting a business, I would say.
It is.
Tell me about that.
Well, fortunate for me and Maisie, I have a legal background, so I was able to do a lot of the filings, the incorporation, the 501c3 filing, and things of that. While Maisie was networking and learning social media, she's been really adept at Twitter and making a lot of connections that way. But the challenge is always the two of us trying to make it to 2 different locations in the same week and do all the filings and set up fundraisers and make connections and networking.
A lot of work.
On top of jobs, and I have children, and you know, she has a family as well, so that's been a challenge. And the next challenge is now all these people are interested in having us run our programs there,
right? And
we can't be everywhere at once, and we'll eventually have to find volunteers, and we'll have to manage those volunteers. And if we have a spot, we'll have to figure out where that spot is. So we're trying to grow it organically, but sometimes it takes leaps, and we have to catch up.
Right, right. And certainly it takes support. So that's obviously part of the plans. And hopefully you'll have, beyond volunteers, you'll eventually have your hired staff quickly and just keep growing. Just one final question. We're basically out of time. What is, very briefly, your vision for TLC Chicago going forward?
It would be to run our pilot, to completely run all the units that we've developed at this time, so that we can find grants, find resources, and then from there spread places like CPS or other organizations, because once we have that, then we could get volunteers or hire instructors that could run our program.
Okay. Phil?
Yeah, on top of that, I would love to see all of that, and I would love the name recognition, but moreover, I'd love to see students, middle school students, go on to pursue studies in high school, whatever that might be, and be able to use the technology, and then come back and say, because of this program, I learned about technology, and that technology helped me find out what I wanted to do. Then they become successful and go on to university or trade school or whatever it is that interests them, and then come back and help us.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for coming out today, and I wish you all the best in this exciting work.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for having us.
And to you, thank you for joining us. Perspectivas Latinas is a community service of CAN TV. If your nonprofit organization would like to work with CAN TV, call 312-738-1400 and ask for nonprofit services. Tune into Perspectivas Latinas for local issues and concerns every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. on CAN TV 21. I'm Juan Carlos Hernandez. Thank you for joining us.